What is the idea of note-taking with the divine? I'm not sure where this concept initially came from, but the idea that whatever is meant for you, you can't lose. You know, it seems like a extension of the idea of faith in general. And if that's true, which I believe it is on a deep level, if something is truly yours, you can't lose it. It's going to be yours regardless. That's why it's truly yours. Say hi, Holly. So the idea being that in remembering something, when you're listening to something, reading something, whatever, having a conversation, and you need to remember something important, if it truly is important and is actually intended for you to remember, you'll remember it. And if it's not intended for you, then true, you might forget, but that's actually to your benefit. Because if you remember and work at something that is not meant for you, you can see. I don't think the opposite is true. Like, if something's meant for you, then you'll get it no matter what. But if something is not meant for you, it doesn't mean you won't get it no matter what. That's part of our element of free will, that we can choose what we want or don't want. And actually, we could probably reject or resist something that's meant for us for much longer than need be. If it's truly meant for us, we'll get it in the end. But that's where willpower can be contrary to what divine desires and can slow down the process of co-creating with the divine. So the idea being that if you can't lose anything that's truly meant for you, but you can gain something that's not meant for you, then willpower becomes just something you should be wary about, because you can use your willpower to direct yourself away from your destiny and the best things that are waiting for you. But you can also use your willpower to align yourself and co-create with the divine. Look at this beautiful flower. That's ridiculous. So that's it. So note-taking with the divine is the idea that when engaged in something where you feel like you want to, there's some important information, something you want to retain, and if it's just details, maybe like dates or times or a name, like taking a note of that makes sense, because that's not something that's like yours. It's just like information to remember. But if it's more like, this is like an inspiring, great idea or a concept that's going to change the way that I view the world or the way that I am, or it just have like it have a significant effect. If that's the case, then you won't lose that idea if it's truly meant for you. And if it's an idea that comes from the ego, and you're like, oh, this is an awesome idea, I'm so awesome and clever, I'm gonna figure this out and make it work, then you might think it and you write it down and stuff, and then you work on it for months, and then you're like, oh, this is nothing, I'm not into this. But if you hadn't written it down, you might have just naturally forgotten, because it wasn't an idea that was truly for you, and you would have stumbled upon what would be more aligned with how you ought to engage in this world in this lifetime. So just a thought. And if you do any note-taking with the divine, or have some experiences in that place, leave a comment.